With Hulk Hogan and Alexa Bliss trending and Bruce Prichard taking over NXT, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for January 11th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. With him being a former NXT champion, many had high expectations for Karrion Kross when he made his way to the WWE main roster. Talking to Chris Van Vliet, Kross revealed who he was going to work with. I did have several people tell me that there were conversations of me working with Randy, Bobby, Drew, Bray, and maybe Roman, but nothing was concrete. It was just mentioned as possible matchups, which I was thrilled for. Who wouldn't be? You want to work with these people. They are the best of the best. When I got there, it was showing up and doing what they want you to do. Kross would then be asked about the possibility of signing with AEW, as he noted the fan response when he asked that question on Twitter. I said, hey, where would you like to see me next? It was an overwhelming amount of people who wanted to see me go to AEW. I had that Peter Griffin moment like, I'd probably still be wrestling. I'm sure I would have been happy and creatively fulfilled. All of my friends work for AEW. I had only a couple of friends work in WWE. I would have been in good company. Not that I wasn't on NXT. The locker room is awesome there. I think I would have loved it. Given Big E's loss of the WWE title at Day 1, comparisons can be made to his New Day stablemate in Kofi Kingston, who would lose the WWE Championship as well, then go back to tag team competition. Talking to Sports Illustrated, Big E noted that he does not want to make the same mistakes as Kofi. I don't want to position it as learning from Kofi's missteps. I know what his intentions were, and mine would have been the same. He didn't do anything wrong, but I have learned that losing this title hurts. I love being myself and being entertaining. If you can't go from dropping a world championship to saying everything is golden, this title meant a lot to me, and it meant to a lot of people, too. My focus is clawing back to that spot. Of course, Big E is the favorite to win the Royal Rumble, as we'll have to see if he can regain his title. Cody Rhodes has been getting more and more boos from fans, with many calling for him to become a villain on screen. During an interview with Barstool Wrestling, Cody touched on his current character, noting that he only cares about winning. I think the shirt really sums it all up. I don't have to be a babyface. I don't have to be a heel. I just want to be a winner. I sincerely do. That's the type of stuff I grew up on. In my household, we're New York Yankees fans. Die-hard Yankees fan. No, it's wrestling no matter how you look at it. Whether you were so immersed in the suspension of disbelief, or you are somebody who covers it from just the behind-the-scenes aspect of wrestling. The winning guys make the most money. The winning guys get the most opportunities. That is a real thing. With Rhodes isolating himself due to being exposed to COVID, we hope he is able to make his return soon. Son of Rick Steiner, Bron Breakker recently had a huge breakout moment, becoming NXT champion after defeating Tommaso Ciampa. Now on After the Bell, Corey Graves spoke about Bron's future in WWE, saying, I predict Bron Breakker is Intercontinental Champion by June, Intercontinental Champion, if not more, by June. I will say, just to cover my own you-know-what, I look at the Intercontinental Champion and the United States Championship as kind of that same level. I know enough about this place, I know enough about this business, and I think it's been a long time since we've seen someone like Bron Breakker. With Marko Stunt not having been seen on AEW programming in a while, it is believed that his contract with the company will not be renewed. On his podcast, Jim Cornette touched on this, saying, now that they are trying and in some cases succeeding to present a product that looks like a real promotion, they have several talents that should have never been signed in the first place. This is because they were not ready, might never be ready, and are not good enough to be in the spotlight. And that is a good enough reason now that Khan has already paid Marko Stunt for a year or two to say, you know what, call me in a year or two, we'll revisit this, grow up, see you later, because it has been charity money so far. They have added nothing to the company. Marko would take to social media to note that his absence was due to him trying out for The Voice, as we'll have to see what the future holds for him. On the Battleground podcast, Eddie Kingston put blame on Chris Jericho for his Inner Circle stablemate Santana and Ortiz not being AEW Tag Team Champions. If I had my way, there are a lot of things going on with Garcia and 2.0, and now Jericho is sticking his nose in my business. I love PNP. Those are my boys for years. I love them both to death. I don't like it that they are with Jericho and never did. Whatever. We all have to make money. I have my own opinion on Jericho. I don't want his help. I don't need his help. He's helping out PNP, but are they World Tag Team Champions? No, because they're busy dealing with Jericho's beef. You can put this on clickbait. Clickbait this. If it wasn't for Chris Jericho and his beef with random people, Proud and Powerful would be World Tag Team Champions. I'm saying it now. If Jericho don't like it, come see me in Raleigh. I'll be there. Jericho is not the same guy from Smoky Mountain. He's not the same guy from New Japan. Don't come at me and try to help me. I don't want your help. Go help PNP get a World Tag title shot instead of worrying about yourself. Clickbait it. Talking about his future, John Cena told Ellen DeGeneres that he was not sure whether he'd be at WrestleMania 38, but said he isn't done with WWE. WrestleMania is usually in late March, early April. I don't know if I'm going to make it this year. That's a good conundrum to have, because there are a lot of good opportunities coming up, which I would love to take. If all those things line up, I don't know if I'll be able to make WrestleMania. I will tell everybody watching, I'm not done with WWE by a long shot. That's my home. I love it. I was able to go back during the summer for a few months and entertain audiences when they welcomed audiences back to arenas, and I far from had my last performance. Many have been excited for Hook Wrestling on AEW Rampage, with the Wrestling Observer pointing out that his segments have been doing the highest ratings for the show. The Hook segment actually was the peak for a lot of the demos. It was the peak for total viewers. You know, the 3-minute match. So the first time that he wrestled, and I said, hey, you know, everyone's talking about him, but it's not like it moved any rating. It's not like it mattered. But this time, there's definitely the 2 big rating stars when I look at the quarters, and I also have the minute by minute from Dynamite. So on the quarters, the Hook versus Aaron Solo did very well. With many of Triple H's closest confidants being released from WWE, it seems that the creative on the brand is now in the hands of Bruce Prichard, according to PW Insider. Prichard will be running creative with Christine Lubrano, and their head writer will be Johnny Russo, as he's been with the company since 2011. Son of WWE Hall of Famer Mick Foley, Dewey will also be on the NXT creative team, with him most recently being in charge of 205 Live, as Foley will be joined in this role by Anthony Golden Jr. And with Triple H still out of action, it remains to be seen what changes are to come and how much more alterations NXT can endure. On the Throwing Down podcast, Dustin Rhodes stated that women get fewer chances on Dynamite and noted that he wants to see this change. I want to get them to where they have 2 matches on Dynamite or Rampage. It's not fair, but we're getting there and making leaps and bounds. The female talent coming in are very athletic, and in some cases, they're just as good, if not better, than some of the guys, and that's awesome. I want them to get to the level that all the guys are at. They deserve that. Sometimes, it's not fair that they don't get those chances, and now they are starting to get those chances. They are not there yet, but they're getting there, and they want it now. When I teach them how to do something, and they do it, and you see the smile on their face, that's the payoff for me. With Hulk Hogan suggesting the late Betty White died because she was vaccinated, fans have taken to Twitter to blast the wrestling legend. Here's some of the reactions. Hulk Hogan is anti-vax, thus continuing the trend of steroid enthusiasts worrying about the possible adverse effects of a life-saving vaccine. Cool. Hulk Hogan bent over for years injecting steroids into his posterior, and probably by other men and women for decades. Wants to talk about injecting vaccines? Betty White will live more years on this planet than he will. He probably has massive heart damage. Hulk Hogan is anti-jab. No needles for the Hulkster. Never, not once, has his leathery skin been pierced with a hypodermic needle. A shot? Not this man. And just like that, Sarah Palin is an authority on sex and Hulk Hogan is a scientist. You're in trouble, America. Alexa Bliss recently made a return to programming for Raw last night as a part of a therapy session. She was last seen losing to Charlotte Flair at Extreme Rules and having her doll destroyed. Now she has been trending due to fans having mixed feelings about this segment. This Alexa Bliss angle is dumb now. Over it. My guess is Alexa Bliss does the therapy sessions as the sicko version of herself up until the RR and the winner number is called. That OG music hits and the crowd loses their minds. She might even win it to set up the Charlotte feud that needs to be closed. Alexa Bliss begins her return to Raw with a therapy session. Decent segment. Not a fan of whatever that was. Insert Alexa Bliss promo. Armando Montalva was arrested in 2020 for multiple counts of trespassing on WWE property. Today he appeared in court again as the alleged stalker live-streamed this, with him representing himself in this case. With Kenny Omega responding to fans on Twitter the other day, he would bring up Jim Cornette. Now Omega has apologized for his comment as he wrote, "Shouldn't have brought up any breathing issue. I, as well as many friends and acquaintances in other sports, are suffering due to COVID after effects. Not sure if you'll accept, but I do apologize." Cornette would respond writing, "Piss off with your phony apology BS, Turd Blossom. I've never had COVID. I don't want to have any interaction with you and your phony wrestling. And I don't have any breathing issues except when you're on the air I refuse to breathe it." A tweet from the AEW on TV account put out a now deleted meme meant to mock Alexa Bliss's therapy session on Raw. While some fans saw this as insensitive, many found humor in it, as one user wrote, "We live in a culture that still devalues mental illness. I don't think they meant ill by this, but it's still tone deaf for a company that claims to be progressive. In fact, they've been tone deaf on a lot of things for which they claim to be progressive." And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.